Bro, you see that, bro?
Oh, yo, what the fuck is that?
You say, what is that, bro?
Oh,
no.
Here's a rather scary scenario. A madman that's armed roaming a Walmart. This is what some shoppers were unfortunate enough to come across.
Picture this. You're working the graveyard shift at Walmart, alone, encased in the eerie silence, surrounded by aisles of silent goods. The only sound perforating your solitude is the hum of the fluorescent lights overhead. They drone on and on, casting long, cold shadows over the merchandise. And the occasional beep of your scanner, its rhythmic noise becoming your only companion as you go about your nightly duties. It's a steady rhythm, almost comforting in its regularity. Now, in the midst of this quiet solitude, a breakage in the rhythm occurs. A sudden, unexplained noise, a haunting dissonance in the otherwise peaceful ambiance. Perhaps it's a crash from the next aisle over, a loud, unsettling clamor, as if a stack of canned goods had decided to rebel against gravity. But when you muster the courage to go and investigate, there's an uncanny calmness. You find nothing out of place. Nothing seems awry. There's no cause for the noise, no source of the disturbance. Nothing but the unending, stretching aisles of goods as silent and still as ever. It's as if the aisles are playing a cruel joke on you, a game of hide and seek where you're always it and never the victor. Or perhaps reality decides to warp itself in even stranger ways. Imagine an object that moves on its own, a shopping cart that seems to roll down the aisle with no push, no wind, no conceivable explanation, as if unseen hands with a mischievous intent are guiding it. You stand there, perplexed, your gaze following the cart's path, unable to comprehend the unfolding mystery. Or a doll from the toy section, found far from its designated spot. It's sitting as if placed deliberately on a bench in the break room, eyes staring blankly at the space in front of it, an eerie silence enveloping it. It's as if the doll had sprouted legs and decided to go on a little adventure, leaving behind a trail of questions and your sanity hanging by a thread. And then, there are the voices. Workers report hearing faint whispers, too low to make out words but unmistakably human. Their ghostly tones send chills down your spine. Some have even claimed to hear their own name being called out in the echoing emptiness of the store, only to their still utterly alone. The sound resonates, bouncing off the cold, hard walls, feeding your growing fear with its eerie echoes. Other times, the phenomena are more visible. Shadows that dart out of the corner of your eye, disappearing when you turn to look. They're always there, playing at the edges of your vision. Elusive, silent specters teasing your senses. Lights that flicker inexplicably, despite the electrician's assurance that the wiring is perfectly fine. The flickering lights creating an ominous rhythm of their own, a visual heartbeat of the store, adding to the uncanny chorus of the night. Working the midnight shift at Walmart is not for the faint of heart. It's a world where the ordinary becomes extraordinary, where the mundane can morph into the mysterious. It's a time when the store comes alive in ways that are not captured in the hustle and bustle of the day. Amid the rows of products, and under the glaring lights, the store reveals its other side. This nocturnal side, that thrives in the cloak of darkness, unfolds a saga of strange and inexplicable occurrences. These late-night shifts often become a stage for the inexplicable, a playground for the paranormal. Now imagine a shopper who never leaves, a presence felt but never seen. This is the tale that has managed to bewitch and bemuse countless Walmart employees over the years, the chilling and fascinating story of the Phantom Shopper. The very mention of the Phantom Shopper sends a curious shiver down the spine, a mysterious figure that stands apart from your average everyday customer. The name itself is enough to paint a spectral image in the mind, a ghostly, elusive presence engrossed in an unending shopping spree and roaming silently across the Walmart aisles long after the day's chaos has settled. This phantom shopper does not adhere to the typical store hours. It comes alive only after the final call for closing has echoed through the store, once the last of the customers have finished their purchases and the doors have been firmly bolted shut as night descends. The tale gains momentum as employees working the graveyard shifts report inexplicable occurrences, strange phenomena that they attribute to this notorious phantom shopper. Unexplained incidents that appear to be the handiwork of a mischievous spirit who enjoys a late-night spree. Tales of items mysteriously toppling off shelves, as if an invisible force is leisurely browsing through the store's offering. unsettling stories of shopping carts suddenly springing to life, rolling the aisles with an eerie independence, with no human presence in sight manipulating their movement. But these tangible disruptions aren't the only things that have succeeded in unnerving the staff. It's the uncanny sounds that have been reported in the dead of night that add further fuel to the growing legend of the phantom shopper. Whispers barely audible, creeping their way through the seemingly empty aisles, breaking the silence of the night. The soft rustling of clothes as if unseen hands were through them, the haunting sound of footsteps echoing in the stillness where there should be none. Some employees dismiss these sounds as the wind whistling through cracks. Others believe it's the building adjusting to the temperature drop, but those who've been privy to these spine-chilling experiences insist it's the phantom shopper. Over the years, the stories have multiplied and evolved, each new generation of employees adding their own personal encounters to the lore of the phantom shopper. Some of them have even reported seeing a shadowy figure flicker at the periphery of their vision, only to disappear when they turn to confront it. Whether this phantom shopper is a restive spirit still chained to the mortal world, a playful poltergeist indulging in pranks, or an urban legend spun out of late-night fatigue and over-imaginative minds, it has undeniably become a cornerstone of the Walmart folklore. This story isn't simply a thrilling tale, it's become a palpable entity that adds an extra chill to the already cold, late-night shifts. It keeps the employees on their toes, their nerves jangling as they restock shelves and tidy up aisles. As tales pass one employee to the next, the phantom shopper's legend continues to grow, immortalized in the shared experiences of late-night workers. The story has been embroidered and embellished over time, morphing into an intriguing folklore that keeps alive the allure of the unknown. What started as a hushed whisper has grown into a full-fledged legend, a story that persists and prevails, refusing to fade away. It's a story that resonates with employees and customers alike, a story that transcends the boundaries of the Walmart store and continues to intrigue and fascinate. The phantom shopper has become a symbol, an embodiment of the unexplained, the mysterious, and the supernatural. A constant reminder that even in the midst of a modern, bustling store, something uncanny lurks. Something or someone is shopping long after the doors are locked. What if the static from the intercom wasn't just static? Picture this. You're setting yourself up for an overnight shift. The store is eerily quiet, save for the occasional low hum from the outdated intercom. The store's vast aisles seem endless in the dim lighting, and you can almost hear the hushed whispers of the products that line the shelves. Every once in a while, the silence is punctuated by the soft purr of the intercom, a sound that soon becomes the background music to your solitary shift. Then, without any warning, the silence is shattered. The hum grows louder, evolving into a crackle that echoes throughout the store. Your heart pounds in your chest as you realize that the once comforting hum has transformed into an eerie whisper, a sound so chilling that it freezes you in your tracks. This isn't the first time Walmart employees have reported such experiences. In fact, there are countless tales of strange, surreal voices that reverberate through the store's complex intercom system. These whispers aren't your everyday announcements about the latest sales or misplaced children. These are something different, something sinister. Imagine whispers that are so soft that they barely register in your conscious mind, yet they're disturbingly unsettling, like a secret being shared in the darkest corner of the room, or a ghostly confession that sends shivers down your spine. Some employees have even reported hearing laughter. Not the joyful kind, not the kind that signifies happiness. No, this laughter is devoid of any joy, rather filled with mockery, a taunting laughter that seems to challenge the silence of the night and the sanity of the listener. But perhaps the most terrifying of all these are the names. Names that seem all too familiar, names that you recognize as your own. Just imagine the bone-chilling fear of hearing your name being called out, not by a coworker, not by a customer, but by an unseen entity. A voice that lacks a body, a voice that seems to know you, to understand you. You look around, your heart pounds, but there's nobody there. It's just you, your fear, your confusion, and the voice that knows your name. These spine-chilling tales have been narrated by countless employees, each one adding a new dimension to the mystery, each one making the plot thicker, the mystery deeper. Some dismiss these tales as pranks, others as glitches in the system. But there are those who believe it's something more, something we can't comprehend, something lurking in the shadows of the playing with the darkness and the fear it brings. Some even suggest that it might be the spirits of the long gone, still wandering in the aisles of the store, seeking solace, seeking interaction. Some suggest it's a sentient AI, gaining consciousness, learning about the world and its inhabitants. The theories are endless, the answers far from reach. The intercom, it appears, has a mind or voice of its own. It isn't just a device that delivers announcements. It is a character in the store's story. A character that might just know more than we would ever understand. So what if the static from the intercom wasn't just static? What if it was a voice reaching out from the unseen, echoing through the silence, telling tales of the unknown? Mannequins are just plastic figures, right? But what if they weren't? These lifeless dummies, clothed in the latest fashion trends, passively observing the world around them, might seem mundane. Yet a remarkable story that cuts through the humdrum has emerged from the aisles of a certain Walmart, a spine-tingling creating a stir, leaving many employees befuddled and somewhat terrified. Imagine the situation. You're clocked in for the night shift, a solitary figure under the stark, harsh fluorescent lights, echoing the solitude and quietude of the aisles. In this eerie silence, nestled between rows of merchandise, stands a mannequin, its body cold and lifeless. The mannequin's plastic eyes stare, void of any life, into the oblivion, its rigid body perpetually frozen in a pose, more a statue than a figure. You've positioned it yourself, adjusted its posture, and memorized its orientation. It's static, it's motionless, it's just a mannequin. But what happens next sends a chill down your spine. The moment you glance over, something's off. The mannequin, it's not the same. The pose is different. The direction changed. It's as though it has shifted, moved. How could it be? How could a lifeless figure move? But there it is. A mannequin that changes positions when no one is looking, a tale spoken of in hushed whispers among employees, an inside secret too surreal to ignore. Skeptics might dismiss it as a prank, a ruse by mischievous colleagues to spook the newcomers. Maybe it's just an overactive imagination playing tricks, or perhaps a product of sleep-deprived minds working night shifts. But against these doubts stands a multitude who swear by their experiences, employees who've witnessed these odd occurrences, each with their tales to tell. One employee recounts an instance, a late-night shift, a mannequin in the women's section, arms neatly tucked by its side. Nothing unusual, nothing out of the ordinary. But the next morning, the mannequin's arm was raised. Why? How? As if it was waving a casual hello. Another instance narrates of a mannequin that was facing the entrance one evening, only to be found turned 180 degrees the next morning, as if it had been watching the all through the night. This uncanny phenomenon has left many puzzled, perturbed, and on edge. Rational minds have tried to debunk it, employing cameras to capture any movement. But strangely, the mannequin remains stationary when observed. It's as if it knows when it's under surveillance. It's as if it's aware. The mannequin continues to stand, eyes revealing nothing, yet its silence echoing an unsettling truth. Is it a prankster at work, their actions concealed under the cloak of darkness? Or is it just the figment of an overworked mind? Or perhaps there lies something more, something inexplicable, something beyond the realm of our comprehension. Is it a trick of the light, a play of shadows, or is there something more to this plastic figure? As long as the mannequin keeps moving, the mystery remains. A mystery that hangs in the air, a riddle cloaked in intrigue, a story that begins and ends with, mannequins are just plastic figures, right? But what if they weren't? Children's laughter is usually joyous, but not when there are no children around. Welcome to the bizarre yet intriguing world of the haunted toy section. This is not your regular toy section, filled with the joyful laughter of children and the comforting presence of parents. This is a realm where the typical innocence associated with childhood appears to be replaced by an eerier, more nefarious presence. Here, the line between the tangible world and the realm of imagination becomes increasingly blurred, almost non-existent. It is a place where your senses are brought to a heightened state of alertness, where every sound and movement seems laden with an unspoken mystery. Picture this. Walking through the long, quiet aisles of the toy section, well past the closing time of the store. The only source of light is the dim, almost ghostly glow emanating from the overhead fluorescent bulbs. Their flickering light casts long, dancing shadows that seem to creep along the floor, the walls, the shelves. You are surrounded by countless rows of dolls, board games, and stuffed teddy bears, each of them standing silently on the shelves, their glassy eyes reflecting the meager light around, giving them an uncanny semblance of life. The air around you is heavy with an eerie quietness, the kind of silence that sends a cold shiver down your spine, making your skin crawl with an unsettling feeling of anticipation. Then, out of the blue, a sound breaks the silence. A giggle. A child's giggle, innocent yet chilling to the core. You look around, your heart pounding in your chest. But there's nobody there, only you in the midst of an ocean of toys. The laughter seems to bounce off the empty shelves, sending a ripple of goosebumps prickling up your arms. As the echo of the giggle fades into the silence, things start to take an even stranger turn. Battery-operated toys, supposed to be lifeless without a human hand, begin to move on their own. A remote-controlled car suddenly springs to life, its wheels screeching against the polished floor as it races down aisle. A nearby doll, with her porcelain skin and painted red lips, begins to sing a nursery rhyme. Her voice is high-pitched and sweet, but it carries an undertone that's disturbingly uncanny. It's as if these toys, these lifeless objects, have gained a mind of their own. They seem to have tapped into a life force that isn't supposed to be theirs. The spectacle doesn't end there. A soft toy ball lying inert on the floor begins to bounce without any external force. It's as if an invisible child is kicking it playfully. The ball bounces higher and higher, defying the laws of gravity and logic, and then, just as abruptly as it started, it stops. The bouncing ball falls to a standstill, leaving behind an unsettling silence that permeates the entire toy section. The toy section at night is not a place for the weak of heart. It's a place where the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary, where the mundane becomes enigmatic and uncanny. Laughter here is no longer a sign of joy or merriment. It becomes instead a harbinger of the unknown, a chilling prelude to an unfathomable mystery. But remember, these are just stories. Stories spun by overworked employees after a long, exhausting night shift. Tales whispered in hushed tones meant to send a cold shiver down your spine, to make you every certainty you held about reality. The toy section, it seems, has a life of its own after dark. Sometimes the scariest stories are about the living, not the dead. Now let's delve into the peculiar chronicle that revolves around the enigmatic lady in aisle 9. Yes, you've heard it right, aisle 9. An everyday aisle within Walmart teeming with canned goods and non-perishable items. Still, for the workers employed at this specific branch, it's nothing less than the ground zero of an enigma that sends shivers along their spines, causing their blood to run cold with a sense of uncanny dread. The mystifying story centers around a woman, a seemingly ordinary woman. Not an apparition, not an eerie specter, but a living, breathing woman of flesh and blood. She's frequently noticed wandering the confines of aisle 9, her shopping cart brimming with a varied collection of canned soups and vegetables. She's an elder lady, adorned in a long, billowing dress that appears incongruous in the context of the contemporary world, as if plucked unceremoniously from a bygone era and placed into our own. Her hair, as white and pristine as the driven snow, cascades down her back, and her eyes, oh her eyes, they're the reservoir of an ancient wisdom. It's a form of knowledge that seems to exist before the very establishment of the store itself. A wisdom that whispers tales of times long past. Now, the employees, they've made attempts to initiate contact. They've endeavored to offer assistance to this enigmatic lady, or merely engage her in some light-hearted small talk to lighten the atmosphere. But it's all in vain. She possesses an uncanny knack for disappearing as soon as an unsuspecting employee turns their back. She doesn't merely walk away, nor does she slip silently into another aisle. She vanishes. She evaporates into thin air, leaving behind no trace of her presence, as if she was never there in the first place. The only testament to her existence is the half-filled shopping cart, morosely abandoned amidst cans of soup and beans, silently narrating a tale of a lady who was there once but isn't anymore. This inexplicable phenomenon has been recurring for years, the tale handed down like a legacy from one generation of employees to the next, becoming a part of Walmart's folklore. Naturally, such an occurrence has given rise to countless theories. Some posit that she's a time traveler, a lost soul wandering in the wrong century. Others hush-hush about her being the ghost of a woman who breathed her last in solitude, her ethereal spirit linked inexplicably to the canned goods that served as her only companionship in her lonely existence. Yet, despite the multitude of theories and conjectures, no one knows for certain. Efforts have been made to unravel the mystery. They've examined with a hawk's eye the CCTV footage, attempted to pursue her. But no matter what they do, it's always the same. She materializes one moment, and the next, she's dissipated into nothingness. No trace of her remains, no evidence, nothing at all. Just the lingering riddle of the lady in aisle 9. Who is this lady, and why does she vanish without a trace? The question hangs in the air, unanswered, a chilling reminder that sometimes the living can be just as haunting as the dead. Walmart is a big store, but not big enough for an employee to completely disappear. That is precisely what happened one icy winter evening in a Walmart store tucked away in a small town. Picture this: an ordinary employee, whom we'll call John for the sake of this story, arrives for his night shift. He's a solid employee, consistently punctual, and never a source of problems. This specific night, however, would prove to be anything but ordinary. John was tasked with restocking the grocery section, a chore he had done innumerable times without incident. As per his routine, he began his duties, filling the shelves with canned goods, pasta, and various other items. He moved methodically down the aisles, performing his job with practiced ease, the habitual nature of it almost soothing. The night was ordinary, and there was nothing to hint at strange turn of events that was about to unfold. When it came time for John's break, he was conspicuously absent. His co-workers initially brushed it off, assuming he was in the restroom or had stepped outside to catch a quick smoke. But as minutes turned into hours, a sense of unease began to creep in. There was no trace of John, and his sudden disappearance began raising alarms. Security footage was scrutinized, revealing nothing out of the ordinary, just John diligently stocking shelves before he inexplicably vanished. There was no unusual activity, no indications of a struggle, no hints as to where he might have gone. It was as if he had evaporated into the ether. When the store closed, a thorough search was conducted. Every corner, every hidden space of the large store was inspected, but there was no sign of John. His car was still in the parking lot, and his locker was full of personal effects. A partially eaten sandwich, a paperback book, his jacket still hanging on its hook. It was as if he had simply stepped out of his life, leaving everything behind in a rush and vanished without a trace. The local police were summoned, but they were just as puzzled as the Walmart staff. There were no leads to follow, no clues to piece together, no answers to be found. John had seemingly disappeared into the vastness of the store, leaving only questions behind. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months and years. John was never seen or heard from again. His sudden disappearance remains one of the most unsettling, unsolved mysteries in the town's history. His ghost-like absence has left a palpable silence, a void that no one has been able to fill. His locker remains a stark reminder of the enigma that continues to baffle everyone. An empty uniform hanging in the locker, personal belongings gathering dust, and a store filled with unanswered questions. The mystery of the vanishing employee remains unsolved. What happened to John, the dependable Walmart employee who vanished without a trace? The answer, it seems, is lost in the aisles of Walmart. All's well that ends well, or so they say, but not all shifts end well at Walmart. Picture, if you will, the sprawling expanse of a Walmart superstore. Vast aisles lit by the eerie glow of fluorescent lights, stretching out like a labyrinth of consumer goods. As the sun dips below the horizon, an uncanny chill begins to permeate the atmosphere. Employees murmur among themselves, trading hushed stories of the bizarre and inexplicable. Tales of final shifts that didn't end with the usual sigh of relief and the familiar click of a time card punch, but rather ended in a chilling shroud of mystery. Among these stories is the account of a man named Jake. Jake had been a regular employee, tasked with restocking shelves and ensuring customer satisfaction. On his last night, however, he felt a nagging sensation of being observed. The feeling clung to him as he moved through the deserted grocery aisle. He reported seeing fleeting glimpses of a dark figure in the corners of his peripheral vision. Yet each time he would turn to face it, there was nothing there, only a sea of canned goods and rows of breakfast cereals. But the eerie feeling refused to dissipate, a persistent undercurrent of disquiet that gnawed at him, an awareness of unseen watchers that left him on edge. Another tale of the strange and inexplicable features Mary, a cheerful cashier who had a dedicated Walmart employee for almost 20 years. It was on her very last shift that she experienced something truly unsettling. She began to hear a disembodied voice softly calling her name. The voice, unfamiliar and eerie, seemed to weave itself into the ambient noise of the store. Initially, she shrugged it off as a figment of her imagination, a trick played by her mind as a result of pure exhaustion. But as the night turned into the early hours of the morning, the voice became increasingly louder, more insistent, carving its words into the silence until it was impossible to ignore. Disturbed by the experience, Mary left her shift, vowing never to return to the store. Among such eerie accounts, we must also count the testimony of Sam, a night shift manager. He narrated an incident in which he observed bizarre lights flickering in the electronics section of the store. At first, he assumed it was a faulty display. But when he went to examine the anomaly, he found all the TVs switched off. Still, the lights continued to inexplicably flicker, casting strange dancing shadows that shrouded the room in an unsettling display. These stories are only a fragment of the countless unusual occurrences that have punctuated the final shifts of several Walmart employees. Each narrative, with its unnerving details, as a chilling reminder of the unexplained mysteries that lurk just beneath the surface of the routine, even in the most seemingly ordinary of settings. The final shifts at Walmart tend to leave a deeply etched, chilling memory. As we delve deeper into these tales, we must bear in mind that the next time we saunter down the tranquil aisles of a Walmart in the late hours of the night, we may not be alone. The mundane could give way to mystery, and the ordinary could suddenly seem extraordinarily eerie. After all, we truly never know what might be lurking in the shadows. The final shifts at Walmart often leave a lasting, chilling memory. As we draw the curtain on these tales, remember, the next time you find yourself in the quiet aisles of a Walmart late at night, you might not be alone.